Even as we start shifting, like housing inventory is at an all-time low, right? Like all time. There's way more buyers than there is sellers in the market, right? My wife being a real estate agent, she's got a handful of buyers, but there's no inventory, right? It's difficult to find a house that fits. All right, guys, now that we are in the office, we really need to start rolling out the systems and processes so that we get the right people in the right seats, right? Now we have the real estate investment side almost on autopilot, right? We got some rock star closers. We have our bird dogs, prospectors. Our sales team is really intact. We do have to fill a small transaction coordination position, but that's gonna roll out in time. Really key topic for the acquisition side is gonna be conversions, right? So really setting up our conversions internally, right? And then also systematizing so we can help newer investors get in the game as well. We want to put each lead that comes into the system is going to fall into its own individual bucket, right? We need to understand the sales process like the funnel that it is, right? We have all these different leads that are pouring out into the CRM, right? We got Facebook, we have Google organic, pay per click, direct mail, we have our cold call leads, and we have SMS, right? A couple others too, people do bandit signs and stuff, but these are really the core models for our business, right? Our way of doing business. Every single lead is funneling, it's going through our sales funnel, and it needs to fall into one of three buckets, right? We have our hot leads, our warm leads, and our cold leads, right? Every single lead that comes into the pipeline needs to be assigned to one of these three buckets. Hot leads are going to be about 20% of our deals. That's what we would consider low-hanging fruit, right? Those are the sellers that we get on the phone and they're like, hey, yes, I need to sell my house like yesterday, right? They're raising their hand, ready to go. Let's send them a contract, right? We love those deals, right? Those are the super easy ones that, oh, seller's ready to go, boom, dialing in the profit. But what we really want to focus on is the 80% that are still sitting in our pipeline, right? This is known as the 80-20 principle. It can be translated to just about any area of life. If you think about the roads, for example. 20% of the roads are going to get 80% of the traffic, right? You go to a wedding or a private event somewhere, 20% of the guests are going to eat 80% of the food. It's true. It's really a proven principle, right? And it can be translated to just about any area of life. But for us, right, we understand that 20% of our deals, our conversions, that low-hanging fruit, right, we need to focus on the other 80. We need to focus on that long-term follow-up, right? They say from lead to conversion or lead to contract, it takes at least 5 to 7 touches. And you guys as the acquisitions team know that, right? Of course. Mm-hmm. So really figuring out how to do that. One, we're creating drip sequences. So built into the CRM, right, it automatically sends a text message follow-up after getting off the phone call, right? As soon as the lead comes into the phone. And then they're getting in touch with an email campaign, voicemail drop, and then it just cycles through, right? So these sellers are continuing to get hit weeks and months down the line, right? So that system's baked into our process. But on the acquisition side, it's also our role to make sure we're constantly in front of them and we're building that personal relationship, right? People want to do business with people that they like and they trust, right? That's the key. So our goal here, guys, is to really work on this conversion. And as you can imagine, that's gonna help our bottom line dollar, right? And cold leads, I always talk about cold leads, guys. Every lead gets a name. Every lead's gonna fall into one bucket, right? They need to be touched. Cold leads, we have some agents on the team, right? We have 2 agents that are within the fold who we can also, not directly, but we can collect a small benefit from that as well, right? So the cold leads, if they want to sell their house retail, or I would say if they're not quite ready, obviously that fits in the warm bucket, right? But in your sales process, we need to identify up front, what is the motivation level? Is it hot, warm, or cold? And the cold ones, we just want to warm them back up a little bit. And if they're not willing to sell their house at a discount, well, guess what? We have some of the best real estate agents in the area. If you're looking to maximize your equity position, and the house is fixed up and ready to list on the market, we have some really great agents that can help you with that, right? So just trying to warm them up, because that's just more fuel to that engine, right? We're really trying to wrap that up.
Trying to monetize every single lead that comes in. Just
Exactly.
figuring out the way to do that.
Yeah, so let's talk about the sales process that you see directly in the CRM, how you've kind of built out the sequences, and how we're looking to really ramp that up so we're getting more personal touches.
So basically in the CRM, the one that we use, realestateinvestor.com, they have heartbeats. So basically any task, whether it's an inbound call from the lead we spoke with, text response, any marketing, it'll come back into your task list. So each day we come in, we try to clear out. Our main goal is to clear out our task list and heartbeats each day. And from that, when you have those conversations, if you need to follow up, of course, that's great. Let's create a new task. It'll remind you, so it takes that, takes that effort away from you. It just keeps things automated. So we talk to the people that we need to, who are warm and close to that decision point. So that's really helped us, kind of maximize how many contracts we can bring in each month. So that's what we've been doing mainly.
Love it. So that brings us to our next focus point, right? And that's really building out the virtual deal finders and our driving for dollars team, right? So our goal in rolling out this new membership and training opportunity that we're going to open up for investors here in the Midlands is to equip them with the tools they need to win, right? One, we're looking to build more bird dogs internally, right? People that want to come in under our wings and really start working with the organization. We can give them the tools and strategies that they need, help us all become more beneficial, right? Okay, that brings us into our next focus point. We really want to start building more JV relationships, right? JV relationships are huge because it gives us an opportunity to build more relationships with local investors, newer wholesalers, people that are looking to get in the game, right? There's tons of value when it comes to JV relationships. I know there's some local dispositions companies. In fact, it's a big thing that, people are really building out that side of the business. And don't get me wrong, there's some pretty decent companies that are good at selling contracts, right? That's great. It's a value add, right? But I feel like we're missing a gap in that process. Some of these newer investors and wholesalers, they might get a quick grab, right? But there's not continued follow-up, and there's not continued education where we can nourish that relationship, where we can give that investors the tools and the strategies that they need to truly elevate their game, right? It's not just a one-off relationship. We want to start investing into our JV partners, right? What does that look like? Well, as we roll out our training and education and open up the membership economy, the goal of real estate investing movement is to start hosting weekly trainings, right? Where we can get all these people in the fold, have a weekly strategy call, weekly Q&A. They can have access to our free wholesaling course, access to a private Facebook community, give them calling scripts, purchase agreements, right? Lots of opportunities for them to really see under the hood and give them the tools that they need to start elevating their game, right? So a big focus point for us as a team, let's start building more JV relationships, right? not only do we have one of the largest cash buyer databases in the Carolinas, right, especially in the Midlands, but we got the tools to help people elevate their game, right? And as the first law of leadership, right, is you start pouring into the individuals, bring up the law of the lid, right? Bring up that leadership potential within the team so that we can start growing and expanding as well, right? Now for us, this means, I'm gonna say bi-weekly Facebook posts. This could be super simple. We don't have to overthink it, right? It might just be, we got several deals closing this week, right? I think we have 3 or 4 on the board, right? A deal closes, take a picture of that property, and we'll have a template already baked out, right? Where you can just input it. Say, oh, boom, another closed deal, right? Or super stoked for this one. The team closed another one and then you just tag real estate investor movement or REI movement, or tag cash property offers, which you guys know is more like the motivated seller market, right? But for the educational side of the business, real estate investing movement. So we're really starting to pump this out there because we want to build more relationships with new investors so we can help them win as well, right? Getting more people in the game. That's going to be a big focus. Now, we're also expanding. We'll touch on this very briefly, but also kind of branching out from just the single family, right? Which we've really planted our niche, planted our roots, and become somewhat of an authority in the local market. But we're looking to get into some more multi-family development, as well as single family development. This means the focus continues to be on single family houses, right? But we're also trying to get out there because we have in-house broker, right, my buddy, and we have the financing, the capital, we got the partnerships already in place to start looking for either multi-family units that are already cash flowing, or this is going to be a huge opportunity for us, is raw land, right? We're looking for anything between 3 to 5, upwards 20 to 50 acres, right? We're looking for opportunities where we can either build up, which would be your multifamily development, right? Or where it's a lot of land that's close to utilities and maybe some amenities that can be developed into a single family housing development, right? So this also means connecting with more wholesalers, right? Getting wholesalers that are already out there in the market doing their thing. If they happen to run across a land deal, well, guess what? We're here as a resource to help you navigate that, right? We're here to help put this together, right? And that means bigger spreads.
And most of them, I mean, most, newer wholesalers, they'll look at those as junk anyway and toss it out. So
right.
That'll be a way that we can add value and help them out and continuing, to get deals closed.
100%, 100%. So it's not that we're shifting gears in any way, right? But this is one more arsenal that we have in our tool belt, right? Because we have the resources to facilitate these and get the deals done, right?
Yeah.
And even as we start shifting, like housing inventory is at an all-time low, right? Like all time. There's way more buyers than there is sellers in the market, right? My wife being a real estate agent, she's got a handful of buyers, but there's no inventory, right? It's difficult to find a house that fits, right? So new construction development, right, is gonna be a big thing. With the new administration in place, we're gonna start to see more of a focus on government funding, right? So what does that mean? It means government subsidies. It means they're gonna wanna start positioning things for affordable housing, which could be multifamily developments, but the government's actually giving grants and partnering through subsidies to get these developments off the ground, right? So you gotta kind of pivot as the economy, as the world's starting to pivot in this post-COVID type of era, right? But that's gonna be a big opportunity for us moving forward. Decentralized Command is something that we'll touch on very briefly. But with this, really just having a clean line of communication, right? It's actually a military term for those of you that may have been service or have family that are in the military. Decentralized command, as we're growing out and starting to build out the educational wing, we're gonna have to put key people in place who understand the sales process, but also understand how to help other investors as well, right? So with that, obviously we have visionary, spitting ideas out, trying to create processes, put things in place. And then we have Trey, who's starting to take a seat as an integrator role, right? Doesn't look a whole lot more different other than just communication, or he's taking my ideas, translating them and bringing them to reality, right? But in the integrator seat, he's also on the acquisitions. Obviously, acquisitions is going to be the heartbeat of our business, which is why they call it a heartbeat inside the CRM, right? But with that, just the line here is Trey continues to sit in that seat, and Devontae as well, right? Because Devontae stepped up, right? He's got the confidence. I would consider him a master closer, right? So now our goal is to train and equip him with more leadership opportunities, right? With more roles. And as a result, right, it cycles through and creates more opportunities, right? But below this, as far as the decentralized command aspect of things, under here we have Driving for Dollars team, we got the Bird Dogs, cold callers, right? Our virtual assistants, all these different people. Also new investors, right? Or JV relationships. All that stuff is funneling up through the chain of command, right? So really giving you guys a spot where you guys are experts in your field. If it comes down to comp analysis, right? If it comes down to walking someone through the sales process, who better than you guys to train and equip them, right? So as we're really starting to branch out, that's what it's gonna look like, right? Giving you guys more responsibilities, communication flows up. And of course, if there's some type of high level decision or something that needs to be made, by all means, right? It comes back, feel free to run it by my desk. But the goal is to really build the unit, right? We wanna go into battle together. We wanna be trained and equipped to take on the challenges that we're gonna face, because those challenges are out there, right? But that's our spot, that's our position as an entrepreneur, is we're stepping onto that battlefield equipped with what we need to win, right? So that's gonna be a big focus. And then lastly, as we build out the community and the mentorship opportunity, company culture is going to be big. So how can we build a safe environment for people to feel like they can step in and ask any question they need to, right? There's no such thing as a stupid question. But we need to have the culture and the team on the back end to really help support those needs, right? Let's say we got 100 people, that are with REI movement, right? They're getting with the team, regardless if that's a JV relationship or maybe they're just a student wanting to learn the tools that they need to win, right? We need to be able, through the infrastructure that we build, to be able to sustain that. We need to help them grow. We need to guide them along the way to show them the tools they need to launch and grow a successful and profitable real estate business in its simplest form, right? So we need to provide that roadmap. So in the next several months, as we're bringing out these training courses, the goal is just really building ourselves into the people we're called to be, so that we can start beating the drums here locally, right? And helping more people get in the game, right? From there, it just expands nationally, shoot, globally. You never know what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
But it starts here. And the seeds that we're planting today, we slowly water them, slowly nourish them. Tell a lot of new investors, like, when you get out there, it's a lot of grind, right? And you might feel like you're just working in vain. But just rest in the fact that those seeds that you're planting today, they're preparing the harvest for tomorrow. So get out there, guys. get at us. We're going to start hosting monthly meetup groups. We're going to start doing some in-depth inner circle training and rolling out some new opportunities for investors to get involved. You guys have any questions, check the links in the description, and I look forward to connecting with you personally.